Hey guys, it's Rafi, and today I'm playing another 10-minute game with 5 second delay, or 5 seconds of increment, I meant. So we have a Queen's Gambit on the board, and I believe I didn't play the most accurate move actually with Knight f6. I think I should have played e6 instead. So he plays g3 because I think he could have taken, and then played e4. So already right off the bat, I made a slight inaccuracy in this position. I think I'm going to play the Slav. I'll play it this way. So this is now a Catalan. And I'll play knight bd7. Bishop d6 now. Proposes a take back. I don't think there's anything wrong with this move, so I'm not totally sure why he proposes a take back. But I'm gonna decline the take back because I don't do that. So now I have to think about how I want to get my pieces developed here. I could go for the immediate e5 here, actually, which is probably what I'm gonna do here, to try to just immediately take up the challenge the center and open up my bishop here. So hopefully my pieces will have free range of motion now to maneuver themselves. Now I have got a choice. I can either accept the isolated pawn, or I can just take with the knight and not take the isolated pawn. I think I'm going to take the knight with the knight and not accept the isolated pawn in this position. Where to put this bishop? f6, d6, c7. b8. Lots of different options. I think I prefer c7 for now. After I get this bishop out, get the rook to c8, I might drop this bishop back to b8. There is knight g5 ideas with threatening checkmate, so I do want to eliminate that possibility. So I might just play this move immediately here, eliminating any future possibilities of knight g5. That does, of course, give a hook for white, for the bishop, but a lot of times there's lots of discovered attacks with the knight moving and coming to that square, so I definitely want to avoid those kind of things here. So here I might just play this queen move. If rook takes, pawn takes, queen takes is not possible. Queen is still defending here. I guess I will put the knight back over here now. If e5, then I'll put the knight back on d5 again. So now my idea is to swing this bishop to b6 to constantly keep pressuring this f2 pawn, along with knight g4 type of stuff as well. But first, I want to get this c8 bishop developed, connect my rooks, and then I will go for this operation here. At the immediate moment, of course, I'm threatening e4 as well. And I'm going to make the argument in this position that his e4 pawn is going to prove to be somewhat of a weakness in the long term. So he chooses to defend this way. I will play this move, provoking f3. If he plays that, that'll open up this diagonal also for the king and block out this bishop for good. And if he plays f3, I'll just come back to e6. No knight f5 because I'll just be able to take. And that'll give him some doubled pawns. So I'll just come back here now. Actually, let's go ahead and first get the bishop to a better diagonal here. Now let's come back. So he's threatening bishop d6 now. Of course, I won't allow that. If g5, bishop d6. So let's get our rooks activated and involved in this game now. I am threatening g5, I believe now. Forking one of the two pieces. Also, his knight on h4 looks like it doesn't have that many great squares to go to. I guess he can go to f5, but then I might be able to just take on f5 and would cripple his pawn structure a little bit here. If that were to happen, I might even feel comfortable playing an endgame from that position and trying to take advantage of the double pawns. Although his pawn structure majority here will actually prove to be kind of strong in this case because they're very well connected. And yeah, I don't know if that will be, that endgame will actually prove to have any advantage for me. So now we've got our rook on the open file and our position seems pretty solid. So I'm just looking at some tactics here. G5, knight f5, I take, he takes, and queen to e2. Pins the bishop. Definitely something to consider here. If bishop b5, b4 in between move, then I'll play c5. Queen e2, rook d1. Maybe I'll have bishop e3 at the end of that line as well. I kind of like this idea. Let's go for it. So take and play here. He does have some annoying move with queen here, though, hitting my f6 knight. Okay, so he chooses to go this way. Maybe now bishop e3. And again, he does have this queen c3 type of stuff, which I'm not super excited about. But I believe I'll have end up at the end. I'll be able to check here and mate him if he tries to overtake on f6. Bishop here, of course, loses the queen and the rook. Here, I think I can just take on d2 with my queen. I'm just looking to see if there's anything better than that, though. Take the bishop. He takes my queen. Take his queen. He takes. It's not going to work. So I think this is the way to go here. After he takes back, I'll take back with the bishop, not the rook. Although I could take with the rook as well. Because I'll be able to get this bishop, but I'm not gonna go for that. So here he doesn't have a pinning idea because I can play here. So that was his idea, okay. So I'll play bishop c8, and if he were to take on b7, then I'll check and I'll pick up this bishop as well. So he just resigned. I think because he realized he can't take on b7, and these two are falling. One of the two at least are falling for sure. He has to play maybe like king here, and the position is very, very difficult, I think, to play. Very difficult. So pretty good game against Lonely Bro. Rated 2241. From India. Wow, very strong player, actually. Giridhar A. Blitz 2140, bullet 2324. Interesting. Very high bullet rating. Rapid, he's been 2321. Wow, very strong player this is. Blitz 2140. It's been as high as 2302. Man, he's beaten several IMs and FMs. Yeah, very, very strong player here. FIDE rating 1395. Certainly not the case probably anymore. Looks like he's been a marathon top 100 even. Wow. Anyway, let's analyze our game. Let's let the computer do its work and then let's get into it. Okay, so d4, d5, c4, which is the queen's gambit. So knight f6, I think, is a mistake. Looks like many players do play knight f6 in this position, though. Interestingly. But e6 and c6 are definitely the most common moves here. So here, I think this is what he could have done. And if I take, which I believe is a mistake, he can play this. And he'll have really good pawns in the center. So I'm not too keen about this position. I don't think I would enjoy playing this too much. So that's why computer is interestingly recommending this strange move c5 here. and playing it in a Gambit style this way. So here as black, I'm gambiting a pawn. I don't know how I feel about that personally. And white has absolutely no issues here, I think. So I certainly wouldn't enjoy playing this, in all honesty. Yes, black is much more developed for sure, getting quick, the ability to quickly get his pieces out. But he's down. I mean, white is up a healthy pawn, so there's no doubt about that here. So yeah. Anyway, I think overall just a mistake. Knight f6, should have played e6 or c6, but he doesn't take it, which then allows me to transpose back into the semi-Slav, which is now I play c6. But in this position, I believe the opening is also already called oh, I guess it ultimately became a Queen's Gambit decline Marshall defense, but I believe it is also the Catalan in this particular situation. In this particular position, I believe this is also called the Catalan defense. Not defense, but Catalan from the white side. But maybe the Catalan is distinguished by the knight already being on f3 or c3 or something like that. I'm not exactly sure of the differences, but I have seen this before as the Catalan, being referred to as the Catalan, I meant. Looks like I've had plenty of games in this line as well. Anyway, so e6, knight d7, castle. So I don't know if my bishop d6 was the most accurate. It seems to be the most popular move, but I feel like the bishop is kind of, you know, kind of hitting a pawn block here. So I'm not sure, totally sure. So bishop d6, then knight d2, still in book, castle, queen c2, e5 right away. I thought about rook e8 to prepare the e5 move, but I didn't want to give any time for him to get his counterplay with e4 possibly. So I went ahead and just shot forward with e5 immediately. A bunch of exchanges happen now. So yeah, I think he should have just taken here. Possibly immediately. I'm not sure. I guess it doesn't really make that much of a difference. And yeah, taking with the knight was the right approach. So that's good that we made the right decision here. We're still in book. There's still a game in the database from this position. Tons of games in Lichess. But master game 1 between a GM and a national master, basically. National master, maybe. Maybe FIDE master. So knight f3 is played here by my opponent. I retreat the bishop to c7. I thought about bishop f6 many times to keep the bishop on this long diagonal here. I don't know what I was worried about. Maybe at some point I was thinking about e4 and e5 coming on the board and being kind of annoying, but I guess I could have just dropped the bishop back. And it's not really that big of a deal. So I think I should have kept it on a more active diagonal on f6. So I do agree with the suggestion here from the engine. Anyway, bishop c7 is not the end of the world. So I played h6 here because of I don't know. I didn't really want any sort of like surprises with knight g5, hitting this knight here or something like that, threatening checkmate. So I sort of played it as like a precautionary type of move, prophylactic move, and yeah, I guess it's okay. So rook here, queen moves, e4 came on the board. Also curious to see if I made, oh, okay, it looks like I didn't make any mistakes, any accuracies. Wow. This was a really good game. Zero inaccuracy, zero mistakes, zero blunder, average centi pawn loss of 16 is, I mean, that's about as accurate as you can play chess. So yeah, so then just knight f6, knight h4. I went with bishop g4, hitting the rook, provoking f3, which he did play. Then I check and get the bishop on the long diagonal with the queen. I mean, with the king. And then I drop the bishop back here. So here I went ahead and dropped this rook here because this rook has some duties of maybe at some point protecting f7, and also this rook could come on the this half open file. So anytime you're trying to decide between which rook should go on the open file, think of, if you put that rook there, where will you put the other rook? So you need to think about the homes for both of your rooks. So if I put this rook here on d8, or sorry, if I put this rook here, where will this rook go? Is the question. The only logical place seems to be a c6, but there's a pawn here. So I thought maybe in the future I could play rook e8 and put this one on d8, and also this rook is helping to keep my king a little bit protected, and also the f7 square. So this rook comes to d8. Although the computer actually prefers the other rook to d8, interestingly. Perhaps it wants to push here and then push this pawn up at some point in the future. I think both rooks are probably fine to put on d8 as long as something comes on the d file. So trade, he just gave me the open file. Then he kind of goes back with his bishop, and I think this is where he went wrong. Because now he's forced to go into this line, which happened in the game. Starting with g5, and the knight has no other places to go. The computer even suggested knight g6. But, yeah, it's not going to work. I wonder if he could have played queen c3, though. Oh, he can't. Because this comes with a checkmate threat now. And there's just no way to defend this, because, yeah, this is... Okay, I see. So I guess he couldn't have even attacked our knight. So I was thinking during the game that, this would hit this, but yeah, he just doesn't have enough time. Bishop e3 here just wins the piece very cleanly. If bishop f1 were to happen on the board, then what would I do? I guess I could take here, but maybe this is good because it still maintains the pin and threatens all types of stuff now. Not threatening, I mean, just everything. But he went with this move, and I just simplified. Computer likes this queen f2 still, keeping the pin and maintaining the tension, but I don't think any human is not going to want to simplify and win the piece here. Just a clean win. There's no rook e8 pinning the bishop and winning it either, because I can always drop the bishop back. Or I can play my rook somewhere like d7, where the knight defends it, and then move the bishop away. So, yeah. Here I can move the bishop to a5 and defend the rook, by the way. So he tries this to try to grab some pawns, but even grabbing the pawns was not going to work out very well because I have bishop here. So if rook b7 now, I'll win another piece. It's just devastation. He'll win this pawn, but he's just down too much material. Check. Then this. And it's just completely lost. Bishop takes is probably more accurate. So yeah, good game. I'm very happy with how I played this one out. No major mistakes or anything of that type. So yeah, hopefully you guys also learned something from this opening and how this played out. Definitely would encourage some of you guys to play the semi-Slav Queen's Gambit decline of any type against the d4 openings. And hope you also have good results like I just did here. I will see you guys in my next video. I hope you comment below in the video and let me know how you think I played this game and if there are any ways I could have improved my play.